Hi students, welcome back to Google Classroom Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. How are you children? Hope you all are fine over there. In the previous class, you heard about the famous story of Gautam Buddha and many ideas of Upanishad thinkers. Hope you learned that portions. Today we will discuss about Jainism. Vardhamana Mahavira was the last and 24th Tirthangara of the Jainas. He spread his message around this time, that is 2500 years ago. He was also a Kshatriya prince of Lichavis. Lichavis, a group that was a part of Vaji Sangha. We have already discussed about Gana or Sangha. It was a different form of government. And Vaji Sangha was a famous example of this government. And at the age of 30, Mahavira left home in search of knowledge and went to live in a forest. For 12 years, he led very hard and lonely life, and at the end of which he attained enlightenment. Then, what were the teachings of Mahavira?
Mahavira taught a simple doctrine. What was that? Men and women who wish to know the truth must leave their homes, and they must strictly follow the rules of Ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting or killing living beings. Mahavira also said that all beings long to live. To all things, life is dear. That means all living beings wish to live a long life, which is valuable. Then let's discuss about the language used by Mahavira. Mahavira and his followers used the language of ordinary people, Pragat, to teach them, because everyone could understand their message. And there were several forms of Pragat depending on the region of the country you are in. For example, the Pragat spoken in Magadha was known as Magadhi. Then let's discuss the followers of Mahavira. Followers of Mahavira were known as Jainas, and they had to lead very simple lives and begging for the food. And they had to be absolutely honest. And they were especially asked not to steal. And they had to observe celibacy, that means saintly. And men had to give up everything, including their clothes. So, it was very difficult for most men and women to follow these strict rules. However, thousands of people left their homes to learn and teach this new way of life. Then, the word Jaina comes from the word Jina, that means conqueror. Who is conqueror? Conqueror means a person who defeats someone or something. And Jainism was a religion, and it was mainly supported by traders, farmers who had to kill insects to protect their crops. So, it was very difficult for them to follow the rules of Jainism. And then, over hundreds of years, Jainism spread to different parts of North India, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And the teachings of Mahavira and his followers were transmitted orally for several centuries. And they were written down 1500 years ago. And they were written in the form in which they are presently available at a place called Vallabhi in Gujarat. Then let's discuss about Sangha. Both Mahavira and Buddha felt that only those who left their homes in search for knowledge that could gain true knowledge. So they arranged for them to stay together in the Sangha. Here, the Sangha was an association of those who left their homes. And the rules made for the Buddhist Sangha were written down in a book called Vinaya Pitaka. Then, what were the rules for joining the Sangha? From the book Vinaya Pitaka, we know that there were separate branches for men and women. And at the same time, all men could join the Sangha. However, some persons have to ask permission for joining the Sangha, like children had to take the permission of their parents. Slaves had to take the permission of their masters. Employees of the king had to take permission from the king. Debtors had to take permission from their creditors. Women had to take their husband's permission. Then, how was the life in the Sangha? Men and women who joined the Sangha led simple lives, and they spent most of the time for meditation. And they went to cities and villages to beg for food during fixed hours. That is why they were known as bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Bhikkhu is the Pragat word for renounced beggar. And they taught others and helped one another. And they also held meetings to settle any quarrels that took place within the Sangha. And students, who all joined the Sangha? Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchants, laborers, barbers, courtesans and slaves. Many of them wrote down the teachings of the Buddha. Some of them even composed beautiful poems describing their life in the Sangha. And these all are the main features or specialities of the Sangha.
So students, I hope all of you understood the concept clearly. And please note that the related URLs, notes of the lesson and test paper are also attached along with the class. Make use of these available materials. Study well and attend the test paper without fail. That's all for today. Thank you.